Hello, happy day. In this episode, we are discussing the finale of a phenomenal season of Orange County. I will say the finale gave a lot, but also I wish we still had that buffer in between.
Yeah, it felt a little rushed. I mean, especially because we picked up and they're like, Shannon left London. Like, I just feel like it's so weird to be like part of this episode they were on their cast trip in London and then we're ending it. Usually we do have a chance. Everyone comes back, they talk about the drama of the trip, and then there's the big party with the big drama. Yeah, I mean, a lot happened in this episode. I almost felt like we could have split it up and
Yes,
dove a little deeper into some stuff. Because I mean, we have an engagement, we have the FBI. Like, there was a lot going on. Even with Gina, we have got Gina kind of her and Travis. Still who knows where they are, but it was sort of a conversation where he finally said how he felt a little bit about it.
I do find it interesting. And again, this is like where I want them to break the fourth wall and let us in the process. But did Ryan ask production to go to the Bahamas? Because we clearly saw the entire proposal. Was he like giving them a heads up? Hey, I'm going to propose. You guys want to come? So he gets a trip for free? Or like, what was that about?
I had that thought, but I'm also wondering, was that just like his camera and he allowed them to have that footage? Because it wasn't like high quality. And had production been there, it would have really tipped it off for her. Like, I don't know. I'm like, that didn't seem
Oh,
like
that's
full.
fair.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I'm like, whoa, why are they recording there? But I was like, wait a minute. Like the quality was not the best. I'm wondering if it was his phone and he had just like positioned it
I think
so
because
that
of all the angles, because it went from this way, like either someone, I
yeah.
guess, could have been filming it. That's definitely possible. I think, and they also showed it in like black and white. I think they had so many different angles. My mind went like, was production there? But I digress. What did you think of her rock? We got a comment on the rock.
I mean, is it real?
I
That's a
mean,
that's a big diamond. I'm not buying that that's real, or that all of it's real. I don't just knowing everything about them, I feel like it's kind of gaudy. I didn't love it. I don't
I
know.
thought it was gaudy as well. And I feel like, again, no shade if you have a diamond like this, but to me, it was giving like those, what was Sheena's ring? The like,
Moissanite,
yes, like that type
which
of
is beautiful, but it's not a real diamond.
manufactured stone or something,
Mhm.
that's kind of what I was feeling from that. But she looked happy. So there's that.
And she's sticking with them. So there is that. I was happy to see her back, but you made a note about this. I agree. She is thirsty, but it was good to see Joe back on her
Yes,
screen.
it's great to see Joe. She so badly, I feel like, wants to be back. We've seen her make enough appearances and hanging out with these different housewives. She was at the Us Weekly party we were at. You had a lovely conversation with her. She's working overtime to say, hey, I'm still here. I'm still relevant. People are still excited to see me. I would welcome it. I mean, I think if we've welcomed so many people from the past, I think she would be friend of to me if she were to have more filming time, but I would welcome it.
I completely agree. Like, I mean, we've got Alexis back. Why can't we have Joe back in some capacity? I think if done right, it could be good. And especially when she revealed, the reason why she was brought in, which was kind of random at first, because it's like Alexis decides she's going to help throw Jen an engagement party, which I was a little confused about because it didn't seem like that the two of them were besties, especially considering seems like Jen has kind of picked Shannon's side over Tamra's, and obviously Alexis is not, close with Shannon. But anyway, Alexis doing the most is throwing her an engagement party and said she wants to invite Joe because everyone loves Joe. But we didn't know, like, does Jen even know Joe? And then it turns out when she was like 23 and really young, she worked for Ryan at like a home loan company.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
she was like. He used to be my boss. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess it worked. But I think, yeah, if done right, now that we know that she kind of knows Ryan, it could be an
Yes.
interesting thing to bring her in. I would welcome it more than continuing the Johnny J and Alexis storyline.
I am only here for Alexis and Johnny J and the delusion of them, mainly because I do think we need a villain and we need an easy target to kind of like point at and make fun of. So I'm kind of here for it from that standpoint. I think Alexis being given more friend of treatment was like the right amount of it.
I also really dark and like I'm here for it because I would love to see the downfall. Like, we know they're not going to last. I mean, we even saw the clip, well done production, of showing Shannon and John on a double date with Tamara and Eddie. And she says, our second date, he looked at me and said, "You're my forever." And like, this is just what he does. Like, I think he might be a love bomber, and
Oh,
Alexis
Mike
is falling
is.
for it. Yeah, right. Well, he is.
She
Yes.
is she is falling for it. So the theme of the party, which I thought was really fun, however, really no one followed the assignment. So the theme was tacky bridesmaid's dress, which you don't have to be born in the 80s. Sorry, Katie, or not a toddler in the 80s. I forgot like her shade. Like, we are children of the 80s, and I would have gone to a thrift store. Like, there's ways to go about it. Like, you didn't. There's no reason for why Emily, to me, won. Tacky is wearing white. She like nailed it.
Well, and the hair, all of it. Yeah.
I thought Vicky did great. I thought Heather Dubrow did great. I mean, I just thought a lot of the women just weren't serving.
It was such a fun theme. When you think about engagement parties, I don't know. I was like, this was it's not a theme that you see done a lot for engagement parties. I thought it was kind of clever and cute. And I feel like it's one, like, I'm with you. I would have gone to a thrift store. I mean, I didn't keep any of the bridesmaid dresses that I've been a bridesmaid in a couple weddings. I didn't keep any of them. I actually donated mine, like a charity that helps give girls prom dresses. But, I would have gone to a thrift store, and I would have gotten something like hideous. I mean, did you think Heather Dubrow that she's holding on to bridesmaid dresses from like the 80s? No, she went out and found one. And I feel like for Heather to lean into tacky, the other women could have done the same.
I mean, Alexis being like, this is tacky. I'm like, that legit is a bridesmaid dress someone this year has worn. Like,
Yeah.
that was giving bridesmaid dress, but someone has worn that dress. Like, she's
Even
like,
Tamara, she's like, yeah, I'm like, I agree. And Gina, I feel like, didn't even try.
no.
She was just like, I'll slightly do the theme. But I think they could have had a lot more fun with it. I think it could have been a really fun theme. So I'm a little disappointed, but I do agree. Emily won with wearing white. Also, I mean, all the floral, like, she really went like, job well done.
She leaned into it. You know what's funny is with the trailer and the previews, I thought it was like a Barbie themed party because of what Jen wore. And I think because of the soundbite that she looks like Barbie. My brain was thinking this was going to be Barbie. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Could have been a cute theme though, because she loves Malibu and Diet Coke. So it could have been like Malibu Barbie theme. But again, I thought they did a really good job. I loved the theme. So
okay, we gotta DM Jen and give her this idea for her bachelorette. I mean, on one hand, I don't want to say,
is she going to have a bachelorette?
I know, I was just gonna say, but she seems the type to me that would have a little something. So you should share that with her, or not. Your face.
I don't know if I want to encourage her to have a bachelorette. I feel like that's enabling. Maybe
she would. Let's be real. Like, she's giving that type of energy. I mean, she's having the engagement party. Why not the bachelorette? And look at who she's marrying to. You don't think he's going to look for a reason to have a bachelor party in Vegas?
But I'm just hoping somehow, if we don't talk about
that, like, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Okay, yeah. Fair.
How about this?
Not for you, Jen. We're looking out for you.
If they break up, I will suggest she has a Barbie themed single party to celebrate her dropping his ass, which is not going to happen, but I like to think maybe it will.
Okay.
She needs to, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about, again, I mean, like, you guys, I'm biased. I love Emily. I thought she was telling the truth the whole time with the whole, like, I don't think she was telling her kids that Heather's mean. And I felt like her version of the story made a lot more sense, because 2 8-year-old boys do not care what their mom thinks of their mom's friend that they've probably met 5 times in their life.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think Katie's son talking about it proves Emily was telling the truth.
Yes, when Katie was having, like, production showed a moment with Katie and her son, and it felt a little like staged. Like, I mean, my kids say shady things actually, and they surprised me, so maybe not. But the fact that a camera was there and he's like, Heather was being a jerk again. Like, I get trying to be like a relatable parent. If you're one of those, you do you. But like, I do think there's something to having a bit tact. Like, even I have a friend right now who's going through a divorce, and even in front of my kids, like, I won't say the parents' full names just because I'm like, this is like information they don't need to know right now.
Yeah.
So I think I get she wants to believe her daughter. I probably would in that situation as well. But also after a while, I want to be like, Katie, like this conversation just feels so inappropriate because we're talking about kids, even with your daughter. Like, it just feels yucky. Like, I'm glad she apologized, but it went on a little longer than it needed to.
I feel like she should never have brought it up in front of Tamara, but after doing that and then it coming to light in London, I
Yeah.
think she just should have said, you know what, it was in really poor taste that he even brought it up. It doesn't matter what the truth is, because at the end of the day, it involves kids. We should just let it go.
Yeah.
Had she done that, I think I would have been like, cool. Maybe it was her daughter, but whatever. Like, let's end it. Let's stop talking about it, because yeah, it's involving kids. Emily doesn't want her kids involved in this. Like, Emily is very careful about how often her children are included. And I think with minors, it 100% makes sense.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
she does not want her kids part of the storyline, and Katie showing her daughter a little bit more, but I think that's fine. She's done it in what I would say up until that point, a very reasonable manner. So like, let's just continue on that and like, let it go. But yeah, she did apologize. So it is.
She did apologize. I mean, yeah. And she kind of owned her behavior to Heather Dubrow, which is a bit interesting. One thing that was kind of confusing to me. So they get all the women together. They're taking their photo. Gina is moving storyline. She's like, Tamara, Shannon, you guys have Shannon. I can't do her accent. It's like, I feel like Shannon. You guys haven't seen each other. And they're like, duh. And she's like, I left. I was crying so much on this trip. And instead of really giving Tamara an opportunity to say anything or much of anything, Shannon immediately storms off and then has one of the weirdest interactions with a house husband that I've seen in a minute. So she stops in this hallway. Matt, Katie's husband, is standing there. I'm like team Matt in this scenario. I don't understand why Shannon kind of turned on him. So she's like venting to him immediately. He's like, I just want to leave. I just want to walk out. And he's like, why don't you? I care about you. You've always been kind to me. And instead of receiving that, she immediately is like, you don't even know me. Why do you care about me? It was weird.
I feel bad for him because, like he's probably been forewarned that Shannon is emotional, that she can kind of fly off the handle very easily. So he's like, okay, she seems like she's in a fragile state. I'm going to like support her and encourage her to remove herself from a situation without making her feel like she's not wanted or I was pushing her out. Like, honestly, for him, I'm like, he handled himself very well and was very sweet and nice about it. Yeah. And she's like, you don't know me. I'm like, you started this conversation.
Yes. He's like, you're arguing with me. And then when she walks away and she's like, I'm leaving. And he's like, goodbye. And like, she took that as if he was calling her a bitch. Like it was nothing. The way she went to Katie, like ran to Katie that I need to talk to you about your husband. Nothing. It did not go down the way she portrayed it at all.
I really can't wait for the reunion when it's like roll footage, because I do feel like, I think there's going to be some things for Katie where it's going to be very uncomfortable for her. I think it'll be nice that this will be one moment where she's like, Shannon, do you owe me and my husband an apology now? Like, here he is being nice to you, complimenting you, listening to you. Like, he could have just been like, oh, I see you're upset. I'm going to let you have a moment. Like, I don't know. I can't wait for her to have to see that play back, and she won't acknowledge it and won't take any fault. It will somehow be like, well, what you didn't see is, or I was in such a fragile state. I felt like it was weird. He was complimenting me, or I don't know how she's going to try to spin this, but she will. But yeah, I felt bad for him. I'm like, God, can you imagine trying to comfort Shannon and then like somehow it turns into like you're being mean? And yeah, she's going through it. But she's been going through it her entire housewife career.
But it's like after a while, like the whole like victim mentality thing, it's like, girl, you can't play victim in this scenario because he legit was just being kind to you. And then you took that kindness and made it weird and turned against him like really quickly over nothing.
And I will say, as far as like house husbands go on like an ick factor, like he is the least ick. I would put him in the category of like, honestly, like least ick of all of them, or top 5%. Like, I feel like, the little bit we've seen him, I know this is his first season, but like, he seems very patient, kind. I would say like a little bit more like soft spoken, not like reserved, but like, he's not like quick.
Loud.
loud. Like, it's like, honestly, I was like, oh God, this might be the perfect person to see Shannon right now. And then this part, man, could you imagine if it would have been like Eddie or really anyone else for that matter? I just felt like even Shane would have been like, I don't know. All right, see you later. Like, or even like, you should go. You're really upset. And then she'd be like, and then Shane told me I had to leave. Like, it just, I don't know. I
It
feel
was
like I felt
weird.
bad for him, really bad for him. And I feel
It
like
was very strange. What did you think about Johnny J making his appearance with that damn scarf around his neck, which is like, early 2000s, I feel like late 90s, like, what are you, a rock star? Were there skulls on the scarf? Like, him just showing up to save his damsel in distress.
I mean, first of all, I bet Alexis told him that outfit is like, oh my God, you look so sexy with a scarf or something. Like she totally encouraged that. I don't think he pulled his scarf out of his closet and was like, I am going to wear a scarf today. But in some way, I mean, I don't know. Like, is it cringe? Yes. But I was like, I mean, he had to show up eventually. We can't talk about him all season. He can't sit there in her confessionals and then not have to like show up to anything. So, I mean, it was cringe, but I was also like, all right, I'm glad. Like, I'm kind of glad he showed up and like we saw him be cringe Johnny J.
Yeah. I love the line that Shannon had, and I'm going to, of course, misquote it now that I'm like thinking about it. She said something that she's like, I'm going to see, you took my man. She's like, no, you took my like problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to like something like that. Like, I was like, Shannon, that's actually pretty good.
No, she did a really good job there. I do feel like there is something about like Alexis that like Shannon seems to have a little bit more confidence when she's going like toe to toe with Alexis. And maybe it's because she's also like, you didn't win, just wait. Like, it's sort of like where with the other women, I think she gets a little bit like, I don't know, like weak, like is a little bit weaker around them, or maybe, I don't know. It's just like, there's something when she's around Alexis. I'm like, oh, like this is a different Shannon. And I kind of like it.
She's like a bit more quick witted with that. And then, so the episode kind of wraps. They pull cameras, headlines, the whole legal situation about Ryan that Tamara's been alluding to the whole time. It comes up. You get the impression it's like, oh my God, what is Jen going to do? I'm heartbroken. She's talking to Gina and Katie of all people. I was a little confused about Gina being there, to be honest. I get Katie, but I don't know. It's just my 2 cents. But, she's like emotional. It's like, what am I going to do? I can't be in this situation again. And we find out his friend who was at the party and who Terry Dubrow was like interrogating, he got 18 years or will get 18 years.
So this whole thing is very bizarre. I mean, just from like, Otani saying that like he didn't steal the money. Like, there was the story changed for the translator. But at the end of the day, it is like, I do feel like Ryan is not as innocent. Like, how do you know these people? How are you like, why is your name being brought into it if you have nothing to do with it? Now maybe he's not going to serve any time. He might give information, get immunity. Who knows? And he's not going to talk about it.
I think they said he got immunity. And
officially,
I think I don't know if it's officially, but the way they did the blurb this time with the Instagram photos, which nice, I guess, pivot. I'm like old and need glasses. I would have preferred like larger type.
Yeah.
Give me like, can we go back to the geriatric millennials would like you to go back?
We've zoomed that one in, just flash it up a little more.
I'm fairly certain it said he got immunity.
Okay. So he gave them something for that. Like he knew something. They're not like, oh, you're innocent, we're going to give you immunity just out of the kindness of our heart. I also think this helps Jen because we saw the clip from the reunion where she's like, he was never served papers. And it's like, well, but he knew something. Like he's not completely innocent in this. It is just wild though, like that he is part of it. Like I was trying to explain it to my husband. He's like, wait, what? A housewife's fiance is involved in this? I'm like, yeah, just
it's wild. No, it's really crazy that he's, connected. And I bet this is thinking like Greek mafia, Angie, but his friend who has 18 years probably has shit on him. Like he could easily like, I feel like you're like indebted like to someone like to get dark, not to get dark like that, but.
Well, no, a lot of people are implying that
enough.
when these people get out, that they were probably going to be handsomely, like they're not going to struggle the rest of their life. Like they are clearly taking the fall for something else. There's allegedly, there's a lot of, rumors that these people are taking the fall to protect Otahani so that like, because he's worth so much, they will take the fall, serve time in jail. Their families will be taken care of. When they get out, they will be taken care of because like he's going to continue making, I don't know, like $80 million a year.
Like, I'm going to get a cut. Like you're going to give me this.
You'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Okay. Well,
it's kind of like, when like, it's like an athlete's best friend gets arrested for something. And like, people are always wondering, like, was it the athlete or was it the best friend? And the best friend's like, here, I'll say it was me.
Yeah.
You keep playing, making millions. Like, I don't know. There's always that, that's always.
It's always how it kind of goes down.
Yeah.
Yep. No.
But I know we say this all the time, like as Bravo fans, but since you guys are all our people, you're going to love it. But like all roads do lead to Bravo. It's really wild. Like you're talking to Major League Baseball player. And of course, there's like a direct connection to an OC housewife.
I mean, who needs the 8 degrees of separation to Kevin Bacon when you have all roads lead to Bravo?
2 degrees of separation to Bravo. I feel like, honestly, I would like challenge somebody, like give me a name of somebody and I will find.
Connection to Bravo. That sounds like a fun drinking game. Honestly.
It really does.
It kind of does. Miami, maybe we'll dabble. Maybe we'll dabble in Miami. Well, we got a view of the trailer for the reunion. Your initial thoughts. I already know what you're going to say, but I want to hear you say it.
What do you think I'm going to say?
Well, Queen Emily.
Well, duh, but okay. I was like, wait, like.
Hello? Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I need Emily to get her flowers at some point. Like, I just feel like she's such a strong housewife. Clearly, she's delivering in this reunion. If she is not holding the center orange next season, I'm going to be pissed.
So the campaign for Emily.
Starting now.
Yep. Starting now.
I mean, who else was it going to be?
I don't know. Jennifer Perdonti?
No, she's not. She's not there yet.
Not there yet. But Emily.
I mean, you might feel you're heading into like my blind love for Emily. Like, I feel like you're tiptoeing into that pool for Jen.
Honestly, I feel that blind loyalty for LaDawn, but not Jen. I will flip.
I think it's coming.
I will flip on Jennifer Perdonti in like after part 1. You can see me flip. I flip. Let's be a little real.
Yeah, I mean, you will. Well, yeah, it's true. You will never. Actually, no, you've sometimes said that wasn't the best look for Karen Huger, but you never like
admit to things, but I'm not going to turn.
But she's never like fully in the wrong for you. Yeah. I feel the same way for Emily. Like
Kyle Richards. There's few people.
I mean, there's certain things like if somebody like, I don't know, something terrible and they're clear, like, I will, change my mind, but it would have to take her like murdering someone for me to think like Emily isn't amazing.
Well, now we're campaigning. I will support you in this cause, and I will support you with Emily.
I do think logically it makes sense though, because like you're not.
Actually.
You can't give it to Tamara or Shannon. We cannot be rewarding their like twisted, weird lies behavior. Heather Dubrow is not center orange. Like she just isn't. She more is like the response to the drama. Where Katie, you got to work a little bit harder. Jen, isn't there yet. She could be. Gina, same thing. Like, I feel like she's not, like her storyline alone isn't enough. But Emily is, I think, strong enough. And I feel like it makes sense to then have everyone stagger around her. But
no, I love this take. Okay, I want you to rate newbie Katie. How did you think she did on her first season? Do you want to see her come back? Like, what are your thoughts on her overall?
I am a firm believer that every housewife should have at least 2 seasons. I think when we cut them after 1, it's really unfair. And I feel like then we start encouraging the Monicas to come forward and just be batshit crazy season 1. And we can't go down that road again. So I do, regardless though, I still think she performed strong enough that I wouldn't even say like, oh, she's on watch for a second season. I think she's for sure a second season, unless she completely tanks. She's almost guaranteed a third, I would imagine. I think she did pretty good. I think she created some drama, right or wrong. She didn't hold the grudge. The whole paparazzi thing was Heather holding on to that. It wasn't really Katie bringing it up all the time. So I give her credit there. Her husband's great. I think she has an interesting storyline with her kids and her own, like I want to know more about when she meets her mom in Korea or if she gets to. So yeah, I'm gonna give her a solid B.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really enjoyed her. I didn't have like questions in my mind like Brittany in Salt Lake City. I don't have that with her. I feel like she seems very sure of herself. Obviously, it's pot stirring, isn't afraid to go head to head. She did a smart move by pivoting away from Heather Dubrow, um, and not letting that be her main focal point. I believe you mentioned before, like NECA and Wendy, where it became her only thing. So she was able to like develop relationships, and Jen needs an ally, and Katie and her have, become
So
buddies.
smart. Yeah.
So very smart in that sense. So I'm with you. Do you think Tamara comes back?
Yes.
I do too. I know like a lot of people like this season wasn't good, but again, we always need a villain. Say what you want about Tamara. She's not a great person, but she moves the story. She gets us engaged. Like from a production TV standpoint, I'm like, yes, like I could see her coming back. And yeah, I definitely see her coming back. I personally feel like all the cast should come back. No notes from there. I don't feel like they need to add anyone. I don't know that they need to remove anyone. Maybe Joe is a friend of if they were to add someone for
Yeah.
Alexis, but I'm good.
I would agree. I mean, I do think we need to put Alexis on a little bit of a watch. Like I'm gonna need a little bit more than just Johnny J all the time. I mean, I know that's why they brought her back, but stand on your own, like make yourself interesting without the person you're dating. That might have been why you came back into it, but I would like to see a little bit more from her. Otherwise I do think like she could possibly the second her and like if her and Johnny J break up, like we're going to see the breakup and then that's the end of Alexis. So she's going to have to do a little bit more to make herself like have some longevity. But I agree. I think we keep everything the same. I don't I don't think we need to disrupt it. I think they might. I think it kind of is sort of like, I don't know. I think the new Bravo thing is like add or remove at least every season, unless it's like completely like flawless. But even, I mean, Salt Lake, which has been amazing, they are still adding to it. So I don't
Yeah, I
know.
feel like with Alexis too, one challenge was Shannon not willing to film enough with her. So like her not being in the cast trip, not being invited. Anytime she tried to have a conversation, like she wouldn't really engage with her enough. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm fully like team Alexis or anything, but I do feel like in opportunities where she tried, it was always shut down.
It's going to have to take like a Tamara and somebody else really riding hard for Alexis and being like, we want to plan the cast trip this season and we're going to invite both of them. Yeah. Because otherwise, like, I don't think like, let's say it's Emily's cast trip next season. I think she would still be like, I'm not inviting Alexis because it's going to ruin the vibe of the trip. I think Gina would do the same thing. Jen would do the same thing. Katie might be one, but I also think Katie's like, I'm not going to make a big statement this soon into it. So I don't know. It's going to have to really be Tamara and Heather willing to really like put their name with Alexis. And I don't think Heather's there. Tamara would, but I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Do you think Fancy Pants, given the fact she does not live in Orange County, do you think she will still come back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I'm like, that's kind of like a moot thing. Like her,
I
like,
don't even know if it really matters because I feel like a lot of them, like who actually like really live, like originally it was Coda de Casa. Like none of them are living in Codo. So it's like who really truly lives in Orange County, like proper.
Yeah. Oh, here's a question, and one that I tend to ride hard on. For the working mom pioneer, Vicky Gumbelson, should she receive an orange?
Yes. I mean, like a full-time cast?
Yeah.
I don't think full-time, but I think friend of. She's not even friend of right now.
I know. She just has made appearances, but I don't think she'll do it unless she's full-time orange.
And by the way, I called her a trailblazer.
Oh, excuse me. Pardon.
No. Yeah, I think every time it annoys me, I like justice for Vicky. She's brought in so much every season, yet they will not make her an official friend of. It is mind-blowing, I think, to every Bravo fan. It's like, why, like, you give her a lifetime achievement award. Like, just give her a friend of. I wonder that maybe they're paying her enough that she's like, I'm cool, just showing up when you need me.
I think her pride and given how much that award meant to her, like, I think
Yeah.
she wants that. She, like, so badly, like, wants to be, like, that girl, like, loved, and she is that girl in her own right, but that
I know
recognition.
what you mean. She needs that validation from the network, like,
Yeah,
"We still want you."
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So, I'm still hopeful for it. I know I said no notes, but, like, I'm still hopeful for it, only in the sense of where the cast feels like it's not tiptoeing, like, too many people on one side versus the other.
Well,
So,
I would make the argument too, adding Vicky a friend of actually isn't shaking up cast at all because she essentially is friend of now.
yeah,
So, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that's not like, "Oh, we're adding too many," because she's already so heavily involved. Like,
yeah.
there's no change.
But
So,
regardless, the changes that they did make,
yeah, good
amazing.
season, good
Great
season.
season, good season. So we will see. But a reunion next week. Beverly Hills will be coming back. We're having a great fall. We'll have an even better fall if you guys scroll down and hit 4 stars and leave us a written review. I have a lofty goal of reaching 1,500 by the end of the year. I'm still determined to make it happen. So do your part and do that. Make it a great day or don't. The choice is yours.